Welcome back to the Auto Ranch. Today we're going to do one of my favorite topics of adventures in car buying or selling in this case. Talk about this is a real scenario that I actually went through myself. As many of you know, I like to play with cars, but I also help. I'm also helping quite a few people these days with buying and selling cars through my company that I started really more as a side job than anything else, called carguyforyou.com, and I'll put the link up and you can check it out. And what we're going to talk about today, people do hire me to help them with this process if they don't want to deal with it or they want to make sure they have the right advice. It's pretty low cost to ensure you get the right amount of money. When you're buying a new or used car, you're paying the right amount and getting the most for your car. So anyways, that's the ad. So a couple of weeks ago, I had a late model car that I originally was going to trade for another car. And so I started out my process, and you may too. Again, you may have a used car that you want to just sell outright. And in this case, I always say you should probably check with one or two dealers of that particular make. Or if you have large used car dealers in your city, those are good options too. But in my case, I was looking to potentially trade for a vehicle of the same make. So I contacted a local dealer. We kind of structured a deal. There really wasn't any negotiation on the new car because it was a popular new car. It was pretty much a sticker deal, which fortunately are becoming less of an issue these days. There certainly are more negotiation on new cars than there was. But on this particular one, that was a good deal on the new car. But on the used car, that's where the funny part started. And so, I knew, obviously being in the business, that the car at auction was probably worth 49 to 50 grand. They hit me at 43,000. So I was like, well, that's the end of that deal. There's no reason to pursue the new vehicle with that. It's too much of a gap. I really wasn't that sold on the new car anyways. But the thing you have to consider on a new car deal, if you're trading it, and this depends on your state. In Ohio, you only get sales tax savings if you trade a used for a new. If you trade used for used, you don't get any sales tax savings. There are some states where it's the opposite, where you get used car to used car only. There's some states, I believe, you can do both. But in Ohio, that's not an issue. But again, we need to consider that in your transaction. So anyways, in my case, I knew that, if I was to sell this car outright, I would be giving up a 6.75% sales tax saving on the 43,000. And I'll put some numbers up on the screen so you can see this in an Excel format. But that realistically, that was meaning that I needed to get about $46,000 for that car if I didn't trade it in on this new car, because that's what I would be saving in sales tax on the new car. So that's an important consideration. So you got the local dealer at 43,000, and maybe if I wasn't trading and there was some games being played on the new car, maybe they would have done 44 or 45. But you'll see where I'm going with where it ended up. So what I always recommend to people today is, and in a perfect world, and I wish we would get to this, and we probably won't, because it's just the nature of competition. If you're running one of these large dealer groups, it would be ideal if we could all go to one website, put our car in, and sort of like if it was like this for insurance. And some sites have automated this, on that side. Put in the price, put in your vehicle, and let the companies bid on it. Let's just get them all in one source. But realistically, that's probably not going to happen. So you're going to have to either hire somebody to do the work or do it yourself. And so I said, you know what, let me try the site. So I went to Carvana, got a price from them. They were at $43,500. Then I went to easycarsale.com. That's a local dealership, it's a local dealer franchise that has started a website where they're trying to buy cars. During the pandemic, with the shortage of inventory, a lot of car dealers have started these type of sites similar to Carvana, where they're buying cars individually from individuals. Great idea. In this particular case, someone had recommended that site. I tried them. They're very friendly, easy to work with. At the end of the day, they just weren't interested in the car. They hit it at 43,000 also, and kind of told me it's not really in our subset. Now, what I would say to that is yeah, maybe should have understood what the car was and its demand in the market, and they certainly had an opportunity to make money on the car that they missed out on. Then I went to another one that's very popular, and I'm very familiar with this company because he's very active in the auction market, and does a great job, and actually was the best offer I had. And I'm not saying he always will be. The reality is, on any car you have, you can get 5 different quotes, and depending on the car, it's one company won't always be the best, is what I'm saying. So you have to try them. And don't get lazy and just, well, I heard about this one. You have to really spend the time to do your homework. So anyways, this one that I'm talking about is called GimmeTheVin.com. And he knows, his group, the guy that owns the company has a good group of people that work for him. They know what the value of cars are. And they, their deal is they buy these cars from individuals, and they're not really in the retail business. They take them to wholesale, auction, and sell them. They're looking to make money like anyone else, but not necessarily a killing. So anyways, they hit it at 47,000, which was the highest wholesale number that I obtained on this particular car. And again, they were all friendly transactions. I don't, there's no sense in engaging with people in a negative way. And when you're in this process, it is what it is. I mean, they all have their own models. They all have to look at the inventory supply and what they think they can make when they get done, reconditioning it. The other thing I should tell you is that these are all based on you giving an accurate description of your car. Don't think that, I have a car that's got a banged in bumper and not telling them they're going to show up and not catch that. Yeah, there's been some stories about that with some of the big wholesale places like Carvana and stuff, people getting away with things like that. But we don't play games. Like, we don't want the dealer to play games with us. We shouldn't be playing games with them. So, describe the car. All these things give you the option of rating your car condition wise. And in some cases, they're going to come out and look at the car anyways before they cut you a check. Or in most cases they will. So describe the car accurately, because that's an important part of this transaction. So anyways, in my case, I said, you know what? I looked at what some of these were bringing retail, and I said, you know what? I don't want to mess with this. I don't want to spend a lot of time kicking tires and dealing with a lot of hassles. I'm going to price this car to sell retail. I'm going to try it for 72 hours, maybe a week. And, if I don't get the money, then, I probably would have sold the car to one of these channels or tried to negotiate with somebody locally at another dealer for a little higher number. So I put it out there, and I listed it on a couple websites that I use that have been very successful. And literally within like 12 to 14 hours, I had a buyer, and within 72 hours, he picked up the car. In this case, it wasn't a dealer. A lot of times it is a dealer who sees those listings today, and if they're interested in the car, they'll travel or have someone come pick it up from you. In this case, it was an end user who drove down from Chicago to get the car. Again, 72 hours later, he came and got the car. And he paid $49,500. So $2,500 above the highest offer that I had, and $6,500 above the lowest offer that I had. And that's significant. That's why I say it's important to do your homework. If that's not something you are feeling like you want to do or you have the ability to, you can hire me to do it, and I'd be happy to do it. I'm happy to talk to you about it. I love this stuff. I think it's kind of a fun part of the transaction. A lot of people hate it. But you need to either figure out what your car is really worth yourself, or use somebody who you trust who does, because there's a lot of money at stake. And you could say, well, this example is not, maybe this isn't applicable to my situation. I just helped a friend the other day who was buying a car with an older car on a Ford Flex, and he was getting differences of $3,000 between dealers and what he ultimately traded or sold the car for. So it does apply. Again, it depends on the dealer and the model they're using and what they think they can make on the car. So that's the adventure in car buying or selling for today. I hope you found this useful and that it provides you with some insight. If I can help in any way, feel free to reach out. Thank you.